Okay, I'm going to show you some measurements and we'll see what happens here. So the bottom rail, this rail here is between 96 and 100 inches long from end to end, and then you put the bend in it right here, and I usually have between 12 to 14, 12, 13, 14 inches from here down to there. So about that much rise, and it's a little bit less than 90 degrees. You don't want 90, but you don't want it to stick out. The further this is out that way, the only thing that happens is you have a lot of wasted space. All of this area here is wasted space, and when you do that, it makes your handlebars just that much longer. So that's the thing about the Phoenix trikes, is that their frames are way out in front, which causes them to have really, really long handlebars, which tend to flop around a lot. So that's why we just run them straight up, or not almost straight up. Okay, so around give or take around 100 inches, and 100 inches at this, and that's all the way back to the tail end of the carrier, way back there where this frame stops. So it's covered on this trike, but this is where that frame pipe stops, right here, right under the mount for the tranny, for a V-dub. Okay, so it stops right there. And the reason that I do that is to give strength to this, and that makes it off-road capable. It makes everything seriously much stronger. This particular trike, the frame is lowered 3 inches, so there's pedestals inside there. But a normal scooter, this isn't there, and the frame is welded right up underneath there. Okay, the top tube, or pipe, I don't use tubing, I only use pipe, Schedule 40 pipe for everything, and until you get to the front end. Front end is solid steel. Anyways, the top rail, let's call it that, is about 7 feet long, give or take an inch or two. You may have to trim it a little bit to get it to fit. So it runs down here and then back up here, and then it goes right into the top of the carrier. Can't really see, he's got all this shit in the way. Can't really see it, but it goes into the top of the carrier. And if you look at some of my videos, you'll see how I split that open, shove this pipe in, then pound it back down and weld it up. Okay, and the carrier, this bottom rail doesn't go into the carrier. The carrier is set on top of the frame. It doesn't go into it, it goes under it. So the carriers sit on top of it. And that's one of the main things that makes these frames so much stronger than everybody else's, where they're just butt welded up to the end there, which is a serious breakage problem in my view. Okay, now, this bend is determined by where this seat is. And this seat, the placement of this seat is determined by how far the driver is from the pedals. The pedals always go right here, right at the base of this turn. So as soon as you come down and you get straight to the straight part, that's where the pedals always go. Okay, so that's a given point. It's always the same on every trike. So we put the bottom rails together, and then put the pedals on. That's the second part you build, is the pedals. And then you've already built the seats, so you foam the seat up, and so it has the proper amount of foam, so that when you sit down on it, you're right in the right place. And then you put a 2x4 here, and this is all in the other videos. You put a 2x4 little here, set the seat on it, the driver sits here, and you position yourself so that you're the correct distance away from the pedals, so that when your driver sits there, everything is in the right place. And once you get that set, then you mark it. That's where this bend right here, that's where it goes, right underneath the butt of the seat. Okay, so this is variable. This bend here is determined by the height of the person the trike is being built for. Okay, the seats are my standard front seat. The rail, this bottom pipe is 36 inches. You know what? I have some seats, just bare frames. We're going to go look at those, and we'll do some more talking there. Okay, here's just a bare frame seat. On the front seat, this is 36 inches from there to there, and the stub, I think the stub is 15 inches from the center of this bend up to the front. The back seat is, this rail is 40 inches long, and the extra 4 inches is right here, is up in front. So you would add 4 inches to make the stub there. The height of the front seat and the back seat are identical. The only difference between the two is that the back seat is this much longer at the base. The reason it's this much longer at the base is so that your passenger isn't sitting all splayed. You know, if it's too short like this one here, then your passenger would be sitting with their legs spread open and not comfortable. So we add 4 inches here, then the passenger gets to sit back and their legs come together, go around the front seat. Much nicer. It's a much more comfortable ride. So that's that. That's the seats. All my seats are 1 foot wide, outside to outside, which makes these 10 and a half or so long. Whatever it is to make this 1 foot wide, you just cut those and fit them in. It's really real simple to make a real simple plain jig. Just make sure that all of these bends, every time you bend pipes, make sure that they're all absolutely identical, so that the bends are exactly the same. That way it's not twisted, you know, from one side to the other. If they're not the same, you're going to get a twist and the seats are going to look like shit and they won't work right. So just make sure that those are the same. Okay, rear cage. This, the main roundabout piece is 100 inches, and it's got to be long enough to go back and allow you to put any exhaust in this area. Depends on what kind of exhaust you're running, but I like to run them with plenty of room. The motor actually sits about here. That way you can put a tri-mill in here, nice quiet, up out of the way exhaust system. So this one is, like I said, it's 100 inches all the way around, and you just bend those, and you can actually buy these from the buggy shops and whatnot. They sell them, but those are thin tubing, and these are Schedule 40 pipe. There's no tubing on this trike anywhere. Now this particular scooter has gas tanks up here. I don't normally do that, but that's what he had, so that's the way we did it. Usually we'll run one of those aluminum tanks that will sit crossways, and this whole upper piece is a little different. But you wind up with a tray, you know, a tray back here to put all your boxes and crap on, you know, whatever, and strap on all your camping gear or whatever it is you're taking. The bottom rails need to be long enough. I think these are like 4 foot from the bottom of this all the way down to that point, which bolts on right up here. Well, it's kind of, you see that red part down there? That's the rear cross member of the frame, and these bolts are where this whole plate here is where that piece of angle iron, that angle, that's where that goes, right? Those connects together, man. You just slide it right on the bolts, and it sits there, and you just put the nut on from below, tighten it up, and you're done. So that's the rear cross. That's the very rear cross member. Nice, heavy-duty piece of angle iron, and these are welded in on the other side. They're welded in, so they're permanently there. Makes getting the rear cage on makes it real easy to get the rear cage on. Okay. Also, the rear cage is also 1 foot wide. That way, when it comes out from behind the scooter, it's the same width as the frame. Frames are always 1 foot wide on the outside. That's my standard. And then the seats are also 1 foot, so they fit. You see how they fit right over the frame, and that's how that works.